do this kind of on the fly, sort of, kind of ish. I'm in a strange place. I'm going to be cooking in this really strange kind of kitchen. Channel is all about narcissistic abuse and the link between that and parental alienation. If you're watching this, you might have been narcissistically abused without parental alienation, but if you have been alienated, then you most certainly have been narcissistically abused with your children weaponized against you. During all these times, you find that your health, your mental well-being struggles, and quite often you find yourself in a situation where you've got very, very little money as well. You might be paying towards your children, you might be fighting court battles, you might just have been without money, you might have escaped, and you might find yourself just barely scratching two pennies together. So I'm killing a couple of birds with one stone. Actually, I'm validating your experience on this one. I'm here with you. It's not a journey, I don't think so. I'm here with you experiencing this, and I'm also sharing my love and how I cope on a budget as well to make myself, my mind and my body kind of healthy. That is cooking. I love to cook. I love to paint and draw and do make music and art as well, and baking. I love to cook. And I can cook on a budget, and I want to show you that as well. So I'm not going to make this all massively well presented, because tomorrow I've got a session to go to down in Essex, and it's like this group gathering of folk who live in Essex, alienated parents, and we're going to talk about this and any kind of questions and just validate and just get things off the chest as well. So I'm going to do this as quickly as possible. I'm going to knock it together. I'm not going to talk too much, just going to whip it all together to make a mince beef cobbler. Yay, a mince beef cobbler. I don't know if they do that in America. I believe they do, because it originates from North America, I believe so. And the top, instead of using dumplings, is what they call biscuits. And so we're gonna have some kind of biscuits, cobblery kind of things, scones type of stuff. And we might chuck a little bit of, a bit of cheese in there possibly as well. So anyway, right, what do we need? First thing, I've got very little room right here, so I've just made some room to take this old Swede, and I'm just kind of, look at that, that's old, but I'm just going to chop this up, because I might put this in with the minced beef, or I might just have it on the side. I might do some potatoes as well. Look at that scraggly old, it's not a lettuce, is it? It's a cabbage. So I might just go ahead and chop some of this up. It'll be all right. That'll soak back up. Remember, you're on a budget, and you don't want to throw your food away if you don't have to. And all this lot is all going to go in the recycle, because you're going to grow your own as well. All right, there's a few marrow slices left. That's definitely going to go in with the beef, so I'll chop that up as well. So they're all chopped up. I think what I'm going to do is boil them. Get some water in there, nice and hot. You want to salt that water. You salt in there, and that's just Swede. It helps it heat more, saves on the energy. Yeah, these are the last of my carrots that I grew last year. Tiny, tiny little things. Honestly, don't chuck them away. I mean, there's some be rotten, I suppose, rotted, I suppose. But these, I'm just going to cut those up, to a nice cookable size. Whoops. Pop them in a bowl. Right, so for the mince sauce, or gravy, whatever it might be, so you need your onion. You're going to chop up your onion, bit of garlic, so you get a few garlics to this one. You're going to need some of that tomato puree with a tin of tomatoes. You're going to need some herbs, so I've got a little bit of mixed herbs on there, and I've also got some fresh sage. Or if you have some fresh rosemary, you can chop all that lot up and it'd be fabulous. I got some Leon Perrin's Worcester sauce, if you got that. Then you've got, this stuff. Got to have some oil, make it nice virgin oil. Your beef, this is 5% fat. And salt and pepper. It's going to be cracked black pepper. Bay leaves, I've got a whole tub of bay leaves here. Chop your onion up, nice and fine, you don't want big chunks. but you don't want teeny tiny chunks either. But you do want it nice and fine. So remember how we peel? He's going to cut through the layers and then take those first couple of layers, the first layer off. It's really easy. It makes life so much more simple then, doesn't it? Learned that in the Waffle House, like I said. Last lesson. Always become a lesson. Is it? Become a lesson now. The old cookery school. No, could be. Who knows? Anyways, I'm going to have to get the filming better, don't I? And maybe, who knows? Never say never. Watch your fingers. That's going to slide the way that this is. So I'm just going to have to turn this around on its side or get my hands on the top. Otherwise, I'm going to be losing some fingers. Now, onions do get a little bit slippery, so you've got to be careful. Make sure you've got a sharp knife and you've got a good hold on them onions. Got a good hold on them onions. Them onions, you get a hold on them onions. There we go. So it's nice. Sorry, I'm taking a mickey. I'm not meant to be taking a mickey. I find that fun. I'm explaining myself for. Right, onions. Fry them up. Nice few glugs of oil in there, okay? Them onions like a bit of oil. And this is going to go into your system as well, into your body. Let it warm up for a sec and then chuck your onions in. Add your onions. Just make sure you give it a bit of a stir, you know? Otherwise it turns brown too quickly and it's not done inside. You want it slightly translucent, you see. You can get yourself a few of those garlics in there, look. Quite a few of them. I'm almost tempted to put a lot in. So I don't know if you remember, I showed you before, just crushing these like that. Easy to take the skin off them. You just each one of those, and the crushing process as well releases some kind of enzyme which is a lot good for you. There's some kind of process that happens, and I'm not 100% sure, but crushing them rather than chopping them actually does something that's really nice and healthy. Can't see any of that, can you? Look. So there we are. So I'm just going to peel all this lot off. Nice tiny chunks. Watch your fingers. Again. Get them in. And just stir that just for a couple minutes, okay? You definitely don't want to burn the garlic. That's rancid flavour. You don't want to do that. So now after a couple of minutes, you're going to add the carrots. We're going to sweat the carrots. There we go. So he's going to sweat them down. That means going to make them a little bit soft on the outside. Once we've done that, so that's about 5 minutes. Once you've done that, you can remove all this stuff from the pan, and then we'll cook the beef, and then we'll add this back into the beef. Right, just going to take that off the heat. But you're going to put the beef in there now, alright? So I'm going to half that, maybe break it up a bit. And salt. Crushed black pepper. Crush these with your knife. Cracked black pepper. Right, going to add that as well. A few mixed herbs. Don't go crazy on these dried herbs. They're pretty potent stuff, alright? Lovely fresh sage. If you're feeling stressed or anything like that, you just get on with this. You're not talking to anybody. You're just chopping away and you're making this stuff. Honestly, you know, your mind just goes away, wanders, and takes your mind off of things for a while, which is what you need, isn't it? If you're being alienated, or if you're trying to come out of other type of abuse, narcissistic abuse. Pop that in and just give that a good old stir. Don't get to break up that beef as well, okay? Because it's gonna like cook otherwise. It's gonna be all solid. I mean, you cooked beef before, surely, maybe. So just want to break it all up. Make sure it's all. There we go. Turn it over and everything. Make sure it all gets fully cooked. All right. You get water coming out of this beef as well. Well, it'll evaporate. So it's fine. You got all those herbs and the seasoning in there. So you're doing all right. So yeah, it's good now. See that? Look, all broken down. This Worcester sauce, I want to add it to the meat first before anything else. A couple tablespoons of that in there. Let's have some good flavour. I want to add it to the meat first because I want the meat to kind of soak it in. I don't want the vegetables to soak it all in. Looking forward to tomorrow. That nice meeting with everybody down at one of them Costa coffee places. you know, you can all have your own little meetings and gatherings. Get yourself on Facebook and just get a notice out there. Go to one of them food places or drinks places and say, look, can we hire, or can we just sit in here and we'll buy you drinks? And because we've got this group of alienated parents talking about domestic abuse and child abuse and all, intimate partner violence kind of stuff. Yeah, it also helps to get the word out. Sometimes the owner says, oh yeah, I know what you mean. Also, going to want to add some tomato paste in there. You can see how much I've got. It's like a real nice tablespoon size. And it's not a tomato dish, but it does add that nice little bit of tang amongst everything else. Give that a good stir in. I'm doing it just with the beef because I want the beef to have the flavour. Kind of like a sloppy Joe mix, really, isn't it? Sort of. That's the base. You can add all kinds of things to this, so you make all sorts of meals. But it's a nice base, you see. I'm just going to pop in the rest of the veg right now. You also want to put those marrows in. Just chop these marrows nice and small because I don't want them to get in the way. I don't want big chunky marrows, but I do want the flavour. Now then, you've got this old cabbage right here. So I might as well just go ahead and use that as well. Just chop off any of the bad bits, any of the dried bad bits and so on. The old parts, make it nice and fresh again. To get the stalk, take the stalk out. I'm filming in the wrong direction here, look. That's alright, it's alright. Just going to take the outer leaf off there as well. So what am I going to do with this? Well, I'm just going to chop it up, not massively finely, but again, I don't want big chunky leaves. And that's just going to add a little bit more substance with our dish. And we'll pop that in there as well. And all that, you can just stir all of that in. We're going to add some gravy to that in a minute. I'm going to make some gravy now. That gravy, I'm just going to put it in this pot right here. What I want is some hot water and Bisto. Bunch of Bisto in there. What did I do? I just boiled the kettle. I literally just boiled the kettle, and as soon as it boiled, I poured the water in there. I think I poured the water in first and the granules on top. Otherwise, it all goes lumpy. That's quite nice. I like that. You might want to put some more in there. If you want to put some red wine as well, that's fine. Or a bit of beer, that's fine. Tiny bit of ale. Oh, what a waste. Not much, not much. You want some dark ale in there? Okay, see, that's why I'm taking things easy. I'm having a pint or two of ale. Good British ale. Can't get that over in the States or Germany, can you? There we go. Australia, I don't know what you do. I'll have to ask me uncle. Ask me uncle. He's over there as well. I'm thinking, do I want to add some more water? But bear in mind, you see, you've got that marrow, which has got water in it, so that's going to release some. And the carrots are then going to absorb that water, and so is that cabbage. So I might just go ahead now and pour a little bit more water in there. Why not? I've got these from a year ago, and they're still got their flavour, sort of, but they diminish a little bit. So I want to put a few bay leaves in there, not just one or two. Got to add the tin of tomatoes as well. Chuck them in there. Carefully fold all that lot in and put that down on a nice simmer. Bubbling just gently a little bit. Okay, it's going to be so nice. Can't add the sweet. So that's only going to be cooking while we make the cobbler top. Okay, so we're going to want some cheddar cheese. There's some nice strong cheddar cheese. Weighing scales, bowl. You want some baking powder. You want a sieve, little sieve of baking powder. Cute that is. Bit of mustard, grater. You want a tiny bit of mixed herbs. Maybe some milk. You don't really need the cheese either. You want some plain flour, some salt, ground salt, and some butter. At this point, good idea to put this at 180. 125 grams of plain flour. I think they call it all-purpose flour over in the States. So 125 grams, oh, this might be too much. Teaspoon of salt, tablespoon of baking powder. Now this is not baking soda, bicarbonate soda, it is baking powder. The two are very, very different. Got two different jobs. Right, so that's a nice tablespoon right there. Pop that in there, that's good. Gives it a nice, easy, slow, consistent rise. Whereas the bicarb, sodium bicarb, gives it a big, quick rise. Bit of a stir and a little bit of mustard, tiny bit of mustard powder. It's the teeniest, tiniest little bit of mustard powder. You want to sieve that as well. Be really careful, you don't want to be pouring that in because this is strong stuff. So I'm putting about half a teaspoon of mustard powder in there. You can put more if you want. And you want your herbs, a little bit, if you put in herbs, you want your few mixed herbs in there. See that? Could be too much. That could be too much. So I'm only going to put half of what that lot in. You want about 25 grams of lard or butter. Yeah, you can use lard as well, or butter. Okay, so 25 grams, roundabouts. Let's see what we got right there. I'm just going to break this up. You're going to break it up, okay? And make sure it's cold. You want it firm, nice and firm, because we're going to make breadcrumbs, rubbing the flour into, or the other way around, together, so it makes it nice breadcrumbs. Then what you're going to do, look, you can see that, you're going to just bring that together and get air in there. You want air. This is a really important job. You can't use a spoon to mix this. You've got to use your fingers. It's kind of nice if you've got cold fingers as well. So it stops everything from melting. You really want to bring that flour and the butter together, just like that. I'll be doing it with two hands in a minute, but I just want to show you what I'm actually doing. I'm really putting a lot of air in there. Okay, so I'm going to go for it with two hands. And that right there is the kind of consistency you want. Look, it's like breadcrumbs. It's not greasy or anything. It's not really too bone dry, too floury. It looks like breadcrumbs. Now, while you weren't looking, a little bit of cheese as well. It's not a whole lot of cheese. You put too much cheese in here, you got all the oil to contend with. So honestly, I only want a teeny tiny bit of cheese, and I'm just going to mix that in. Yeah, you don't even need the cheese, to be honest with you. Right, so that's that. Now we've got to bring it together. So here comes your milk. It's only a couple of tablespoons of milk, and you want a flat knife, a flat blade. So this really all should be, well, I guess should be cold really, but here we are. Needs must. You don't want to overdo this at all. Just bring all this lot together. It's a couple of tablespoons, and it looks like you haven't got enough in there, but before you know it, you put too much in. So when it looks like you want to put some more in, or stop, you're going to stop and you're going to just double check it, because I honestly only put 2 tablespoons in. And look, it's all coming together. See that? I want to bring it all together like this, and I want to make sure that it stays together, and I don't want it mushy. It's got to come together, and it must not be mushy. And that's nice. You could put that in the fridge for a bit if you want to, but I'm not gonna. What I am going to do instead is start putting everything in the containers. So I'm going to go over to our nice juicy stuff. You don't have to have the bay leaves in there right now if you don't want to, but hey ho, pull them out later on if you want. The longer you cook them, the more gorgeous it'll be. All that, look, there's tons of this in here, so I've got another container just in case. There we are, looking nice, very nice. There we are. Let's get another container in here as well. Or you could just save this for another day and get some mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes. I could have put some peas in there as well. Frozen peas, make sure they're frozen. Cheapest chips, this is honestly. It's the most lovely dinner as well. Now, Got that. Got that. I actually got 2 ovens. If I want to roll this out, I could. I'm actually going to flatten it out. That's what I'm going to do. One thing I forgot to say was get yourself a little cutter. But you're gonna have to grease it up a little bit, but also dip it in the flour. I actually don't want this too thick because I want to put some of these cobblers, couple of biscuits in all of these dishes. So I've got 2 in there. I really could have a smaller cutter and make 3 or 4 in each, and pop that in. That, where shall I put it? Put it in there? Yeah, go on. Right. If you want to do anything with the tops, like I shouldn't be doing it this way, get a little bit of milk in there if you want to do that. Get yourself a brush or something like that. I don't want to spill this milk in my dinner. Being lazy now. You know what happens when you're lazy? Things go wrong if you're not careful. So there's a little bit of just to give it a tiny bit of colour up on top. You know, stop it from being all dried out as well on top. That's lovely. Okay, right, so that's fine. I'm going to put these in the oven and we're going to wait for, I don't know what, 30 minutes? You know, wait till they're all on top, nice golden brown, and job done. But check around about 30 minutes or so, maybe 25 even. In the oven. There you go. So that's just underneath the middle. It's a bit lower than that. Anyways, that's good. Just waiting for that. Cheers to all of you out there. And I know it's a strange situation that you're in, but you can always have yourself a little half a pint or 2, whatever it might be. Cheers. Nice. Right, that's it. 25 odd minutes, maybe 30. Golden brown. Oh man, there you go. There you go. That's a cobbler. That's a mince pie cobbler. Right. There you go. So if you like that, beef cobbler. Thank you for being here, and I'll catch you later on. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Take care. Bye-bye.